Hello and welcome to Restoration DIY. In this episode I'll be doing an epoxy resin and applewood bowl. This is the hollow half of the log I used in my previous video, linked above. The blank was a bit small, so I added a few larger offcuts, mainly to save on resin, but I also wanted the applewood to fill the casting bucket. After arranging the wood in the bucket, I mixed 4 batches of resin, using a 2-part epoxy, 150ml of part B and 300ml of part A, being careful to replace the cap on the correct container. This was then mixed for around 2 minutes. The colours I chose were rust red with a dash of shimmer white and a splash of metallic antique gold. This I hoped would create a swirling effect against the grain of the applewood. And with the colours added, this was then mixed for a further 2 minutes, then poured into the bucket. I won't show all 4 batches being mixed, but with the last one added, I put the whole thing in the pressure pot and placed some weight on top to stop the wood floating in the resin. With the lid firmly tightened down, I added the usual 50 to 55 psi and left it to cure. A few hours later, off camera, I checked to see how it was doing, and to my surprise it had cured, though there was still a bit of heat in it. But nevertheless, I added 2 more batches and put it in the pressure pot and left it overnight. There were a few hairline cracks, probably caused by overheating, but I felt I could deal with them later on whilst I was turning the blank to shape. I trimmed the waste block flush with the resin, marked the centre and drilled the hole for the woodworm screw, and with that done, I mounted it on the lathe. With the tailstock in place, it was time for turning. This was a heavy resin blank and I didn't want to take any chances, so I double checked to make sure everything was nice and tight. I'm still waiting for my new Easywood Tools full-size carbide cutter, so my usual small and mid-size cutter stepped into the ring once more. The first job on such a big blank was to get it to round, so it was better balanced. Then I would be able to turn the speed up and it would cut a lot easier. And so, with the blank nicely balanced, I increased the speed and went to work on shaping the base, exposing the applewood and forming the cutout above the pedestal. I also had to move my camera a couple of times to cut down on the resin flakes obscuring the view. I'm determined to start using traditional wood turning tools on my resin projects, so to that end I broke out the 3/8 bowl gouge and I had a go at the base. Now this has a lot of wood in it, so I was getting good results, though I had to go back to the carbide to clean up the tear out. Tear out cleaned up, I had a go at shaping the sides with a bowl gouge. This was going okay, though I still had to clean it up with a carbide. Keeping a sharp edge on the gouge is also critical, it goes dull very quickly. Continued shaping the outside, blending the curves into each other. For this I went back to carbide as I was getting close to the finished surface and I didn't want to risk a catch with the bowl gouge. Having said that, I couldn't resist using the gouge to take some more out of the cutout. I figured if I made a mistake, I could use the carbide to clean it up, but all went well and the bowl was shaping up quite nicely. As you can see in this clip, there are a few voids to deal with and the hairline cracks are beginning to show, so I decided to take some more off to see if I could get rid of at least a few of the blemishes. I removed as much material as I thought necessary and used superglue to fill the cracks. The spray is an accelerator. It dries the glue very quickly, though make sure you don't get both products on your skin. It generates a lot of heat and it will burn. Wood Tools carbide cutter to gently clean up the surface. I found if I was too aggressive, it just chipped the super glue out and I had to re-glue the cracks, which was annoying. Final bit of cleanup and I sanded, beginning with 80 grit and working up to 3000 grit. And with that done, I cut the mortise in the base using my newly acquired dovetail cutter. Learning my lesson from the last project, I left the tailstock support in place until the very last minute. Doing this kept everything nice and centered, and I didn't have any problems when I turned the bowl round. With the mortise cut, I sanded the base to match the rest, and then cleaned down with denatured alcohol, followed by a good application of sanding sealer. This was denibbed with a customary non-abrasive Scotch pad, which was followed by a liberal application of Yorkshire Grit abrasive paste. After a thorough cleaning, Yorkshire Grit, fine abrasive paste, 2 coats. Cleaned away with paper towel before applying Novus Fine Scratch Remover. After cleaning away the fine scratch remover, I used Novus Plastic Clean and Shine, all polished off to leave a blemish-free surface. And with the outside finished, I moved on to hollowing out the inside, a reasonably straightforward process with not a lot to talk about. So could I take a moment of your time to ask you to subscribe? Just click the button in the bottom right hand corner, it will only take a moment. A thumbs up at the end will be great, and leave a comment, it's always good to read them.
All my I know you're hurt and you can't let go. It's not your fault and you don't deserve all the bad and the hurt. I know you tried so hard. I know you've done your part. It's not fair. You did your time. How much longer will you suffer in this life? But don't give up. Just hold on tight. It'll be alright. All your life you've tried to be a good man inside. Did everything that you thought you should. Didn't seem to do you any good. I know you've tried so hard. I know you've done your part. It's not fair. You did your time. How much longer will you suffer in this life? But don't give up. Just hold on tight. It'll be alright. I know you tried so hard. I know you've done your part. It's not fair. You did your time. How much longer will you suffer in this life? But don't give up. Just hold on tight. It'll be alright.
With the inside shaping complete, I sanded from 80 to 3000 grit, followed up with a thorough clean down with denatured alcohol, then the usual sanding sealer, denibbed with a non-abrasive Scotch pad. Yorkshire grit, abrasive paste, to remove the heavier scratches, cleaned away to be followed up with 2 applications of Yorkshire grit, fine abrasive paste. This was followed up with Nova's fine scratch remover, polished off to a deep shine. And finally, Nova's plastic clean and shine. Well, that's another project finished. I hope you liked this episode. It was a real learning process for me, especially how to deal with those hairline cracks. Please subscribe, hit that like button, and comments are always welcome. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye for now.